Buonasera a tutti, buonasera al nostro quarto evento. Questo evento è specifico ovviamente per chi lavora nel campo degli HR o un team leader che deve spiegare come possiamo dare le informazioni riguardo a tutte le questioni di sicurezza e di prevenzione per il Covid all'interno del luogo di lavoro. Come sapete, alcuni di voi hanno già assistito a precedenti webinars di questa serie. Sono dei webinars che noi stiamo organizzando per cercare di supportare chi lavora nell'HR e chi deve affrontare tutte queste nuove sfide, sicuramente sfide a cui non eravamo pronti, ma che adesso dobbiamo in tutti i modi far fronte. E durante queste sfide alcuni di voi lo devono fare in inglese. E questa è la ragione per cui abbiamo creato questi webinars ed è il motivo per cui siamo qui con Natalie, la nostra Corporate National Director of Studies, che terrà tutta la lezione in inglese, e io sono Filippo invece e mi occupo di creare e organizzare corsi per le aziende a Milano e in altre parti d'Italia. Per quanto riguarda MyS, alcuni di voi ci conoscono già, per altri forse è la prima volta che entrate in contatto con noi. Vi dico solo due parole velocemente. Siamo, come dice la parola stessa, una scuola d'inglese che presta particolare attenzione nel creare dei corsi o dei percorsi formativi sulla base dei bisogni effettivi dei clienti con cui lavoriamo. Noi abbiamo ovviamente dei corsi già strutturati, ma in ogni occasione decidiamo se un corso standard inglese è la soluzione migliore per un'azienda oppure se è meglio creare qualcosa ad hoc, se fare dei workshop o altri tipi di interazioni. Da quel punto di vista siamo pienamente flessibili e quello che per noi interessa ed è importante è di ottenere lo scopo finale nell'utilizzo della lingua che serve effettivamente per il lavoro delle persone che partecipano ai nostri corsi. Abbiamo scuole in tutta Italia, ma con Covid anche noi ci siamo dovuti velocemente adattare e adesso abbiamo creato anche tanti corsi online, quindi abbiamo la capacità ormai di deliver e quindi ovviamente di erogare corsi non solo in Italia ma anche in altre parti del mondo, supportati anche dalle nostre scuole in Spagna, a Siviglia e a Lione. Ma adesso non voglio portare via altro tempo a cose ben più interessanti come la lezione che ha pronto per voi Natalie, o lezione direi suggerimenti che ha per voi in inglese, e quindi lascerei la parola a Natalie che ci porterà attraverso questa mezz'ora al linguaggio specifico ma molto importante. Natalie, it's over to you.
Thank you, Filippo. Hi again, everybody. As we say every week, just to confirm to anyone who's new to these webinars, we are doing them because you have requested them. We deal with a lot of people who work in HR or have managers who have English-speaking staff. And of course, in this period, there are very specific phrases in English that you need to deal with the situation with COVID and the virus. So we have been asked by our existing clients and companies if we can help, if we can provide some suggestions of vocabulary and phrases they can use immediately. Of course, if you are not a client, you're very welcome. We want to provide as much support as possible. As Filippo said, I am the National Corporate Director of Studies for my English school, MyS. So we started a few years ago with one school in Florence and we have flourished. So we have expanded rapidly in Italy and now into France and Spain. And I think the reason is because we give you practical help. So when you need help as a company, we give you help immediately for you and your staff to make that jump to be able to communicate in English, in particular speaking, but also emailing, writing on the telephone. At the moment, obviously, everyone is video calling a lot, and there is particular language that we use for this. So we are very much wanting to help you. We design courses around your needs, your company's needs. So certainly there is not business English in a general way for everybody. Maybe your company needs English that will help excuse me, your consultants to travel and provide sales advice, and we create a course for you in that way. Or maybe they have a good level of English, but they really need to accelerate to be more professional in English, and which is a common request we have, actually. So we talk with you and create the course for you. We don't just give you an intermediate business English generic course, because everybody needs something a little bit different. And we organize these free, very short, quick evening webinars every Tuesday, just so you can introduce some phrases that you're probably going to need in this period, probably for another few months still. So please, take a photo of the vocabulary, write it down, take a screenshot. If you have any questions, please put it in the comments. You can also email us at the email address going across the screen. We're really happy to help. That's the way we approach things at MyS. So please do contact us, and we'll make a start today. Now, of course, if you don't feel you need this specific language, you can just join us and listen to some native speaking English on a Tuesday evening. We are here every week at 7 o'clock. Okay, so let's have a look at tonight's specific content. Okay, so tonight is language related COVID prevention at work. Okay, so talking specifically about people now returning to offices, factories, buildings at work, and how we talk about preventing the spread of the virus, how we reassure staff that we have thought about this, and the specific language we use. Now, remember, I say this every week, remember the pronunciation of virus. So in English, it's virus. Okay, very important. And often we just say COVID now, so you might hear people say COVID. Okay, so let's have a look. Now, just to go over briefly again, because a couple of you asked me to go through this again, just to remind you, tech issues. So we're all having them. Unfortunately, it's a common part of life now. Sometimes we have issues with our technology. So just 4 phrases here that you might need. Print them off, take a screenshot, write them down, put them in your drawer. You might need to use these at some point. Okay, so obviously you can say, can you hear me? Can you see me? Is the first check that we always do. And we talk about a connection. Sorry, there's a bad connection. I can't hear you very well. Listen to my pronunciation of these words. We say you're breaking up, which is when the picture is jumping, or maybe the audio is jumping. Say, I'm sorry, but you're breaking up. Could you check your internet connection, please? And very common one, we all have this make this mistake sometimes. Your microphone is muted, so I can't hear you. Filippo, I think we still do this sometimes, don't we?
Absolutely.
We still forget to switch the microphone. So this is one you need to remember. Also, maybe you need to say, Claire, I can't see you. Please, could you switch on your video? So we say switch on in the same way as we would with a light switch. Okay. So that was just a reminder. A couple of people actually asked me for a reminder of this. Okay. Let's have a look at today's specific vocabulary. It's going to be very detailed, so make sure that you take a photo or a screenshot. These are very typical phrases you are probably going to need. So when you are communicating policies to your employees, so you can say employees or you can say staff, the same thing here. There are various things you need to say now when people return to work. And of course, this is the first time we have had to do this. So unless your English is absolutely fluent, it's unlikely you know the specific vocabulary we use in this situation. I mean, Filippo, you are, I would say, very fluent in English because you lived in London for how long?
Almost 20 years, more or less.
Okay, so your English is pretty good.
Yes.
But I'm sure that you're even following the news at the moment, and occasionally there's probably very specific vocabulary, even for you, because you're not a native speaker.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, there can be particular things such as we talk about traffic at work. Do you know what I mean by traffic at work? Can you take a guess?
I'm not,
Or maybe
I'm
you
not
know
entirely
already.
sure. I think that it's very busy, or
You see, exactly. It actually, it's talking about people walking around the office. So we can actually call that traffic, which is surprising, isn't it?
yeah.
So if you see the third paragraph here, one-way traffic or priority rules on narrow stairs, so stairs that are narrow, and corridors will be followed where people cannot keep a sufficient distance when passing each other. So here, when we talk about traffic, we actually just mean people walking around the office. So it might sound quite strange to say, okay, there's only one-way traffic on the staircase in building A on the south side, but they are talking about using one staircase for entering the building and using another staircase for leaving the building. So again, it's very specific vocabulary, but a native speaker would understand traffic here. We're talking about people walking around and not cars. So it's quite interesting. Again, we talk about circulation. So a lot of these things sound like cars. So we talk about in the first paragraph here, internal circulation will be limited as much as possible. So we don't want people, for example, in the past, I mean, how normal was it to receive a phone call, maybe a private phone call or an important client, and walk out of the room because you want to concentrate. So maybe you go to a meeting room to take the phone call. Now, absolutely, we want to avoid this. We want to just go into work, to our desk, and stay in one place until we leave. Hopefully you're allowed to go to the toilet, I'm sure you are. But here we talk about limiting internal circulation. So you could be saying this to your staff, or maybe you hear this, talking about the circulation of staff or employees in the building. So how you move about your building will be restricted. So you could be saying, please note the regulations around circulation in your building, for example. And talking about cross flows, if you see here in the second paragraph, avoid cross flows. So you do not want to be passing someone in the corridor or in the stairs to reduce the risk as much as possible. So this is, again, you as a company want to make sure you don't make staff sick, so you're protecting yourself as a company, and you want to show your staff you are providing protection by having these rules. It's certainly true that a lot of staff are concerned about returning to work, so by giving them these policies, it reassures them that you're serious about protecting their health. Okay. Let's have a look. So here, Filippo, in the second paragraph here, is it clear to you what it means by floor markings?
Is it signs on the walls or on the floor to tell where people should be walking towards and the direction of walking and so on?
Exactly. So we've noticed here in Italy is very common now. You go into supermarkets, places like this, and they have some sort of marking on the floor. In English, we call it marking. So you will say the floor marking, follow the floor markings, for example. Please observe the floor markings, you might want to say to staff. you're very often going to be saying, make sure you follow the floor markings, follow the regulations, because in English, we don't so much say at work, for example, I mean, you can say you must or you must not, but in English, it's not really necessary, because when you say make sure you do something, it's implicit that you have to do it. I mean, it's a regulation, so we assume that you know you have to do it for your safety and for everyone else's. So you don't necessarily need to say you must follow the floor markings. You can say, please make sure you observe the floor markings. Okay. We also talk about walkways. Walkways just in general means all of the places that the staff walk around the office. So this is a term that will cover corridors, stairs, passages. So you could just say walkways. Okay. Let's have a look at some other important vocabulary. So you could say sufficient distance instead of saying 2 meters. This could be because, for example, you have offices in different countries with different rules. So you might want to describe your new policy and say sufficient distance, and say, obviously, at the beginning, please always refer to your country's regulations and laws. Because as maybe you heard today, did you hear this, Filippo, that they're changing the distancing rules in the UK, for example, from next week?
Yes, I heard.
Did you hear that? Yeah.
I did. So
quite surprising, but
I think, to be honest,
they're reducing it from...
Is it from 2 meters to 1 and something? 1 plus, they said. Very specific.
Yeah. I know. I don't know why it's necessary either.
Probably they're finding it too difficult to keep people 2 meters away, so they're deciding to keep it a bit easier and say at least a meter, try to keep some distance at least.
Yes, yeah. No, I mean, it's, I thought it was quite bizarre, but, it does show that in different countries, there will be different regulations and laws. So you need to be very aware if you're HR or a manager, because you can't say, I mean, obviously you can say all staff need to keep 2 meters away, but you might want to say, refer to the country that you're in, or the policies of the office of the country you're in. So it's just important to bear in mind that we assume everyone's taking the same precautions, but they're not. So, okay. So here in paragraph 4, we talk about the company's premises. Now, we say the company's premises. We very often only use this when we are using business English, because premises generally means all of the buildings included under the umbrella of your company. So not just offices, it can be construction sites, factories, shops. Trying to think of something else. I don't know, it can also be public space that come under your company, but we say premises. So it makes sure that it covers every single building that you own. Okay, so generally use this word, company's premises. And of course, many people will be saying that in the past, maybe you had visitors, but now probably that's forbidden at the moment. So here it says, in general, people who are not directly involved with the company's activities should not enter. Again, it's a very good way to cover everything by saying company's activities. So these are just really key phrases that you can take and use when you're talking about policies for your company. So here, by saying premises, you cover every single building. And by saying activities, you cover everything. So it could be sales, production, managerial, training facilities. It just means that you make sure nothing is missed, so you're not opening yourself to any legal issue. Okay. This actually came up recently, the next paragraph. There is some cultural difference in what is acceptable or not when it comes to, in general, the way that you discuss certain topics. And in English, you do need to say particular things surrounding someone that might have contracted COVID in order not to find yourself again in a difficult legal situation. So here you're better to say people who have COVID-19 or people who are being treated for COVID-19. Okay. You don't want to say victims or disease or anything that sounds a little bit like you're giving an opinion or an emotion attached to it. So bear this in mind when you're talking about people that have actually contracted the virus. You need to be careful in this. And obviously, if you have a legal department, the best thing is to get advice from them. Just bear in mind that in a different country with a different culture, you need to be careful with your vocabulary around this. Okay. We also talk about reducing stigma. This also is a very hot topic at the moment with the Black Lives Matter protests. So we want to, as much as possible in this situation, also because we don't want people to feel like they are being treated in a negative way or treated differently. Okay, so we need to be sensitive in these situations. Okay, so again, we talked in previous weeks about alcohol-based hand gels or soaps being put around the office for staff to use. So you can again remind them this is available to them and that it's their responsibility to use this. Okay. Let's have a look. Okay, we're just going to go through some important pronunciation and vocabulary. If you need to explain to a member of staff if they think they actually do have symptoms, and again, you want to be reassuring in your role as manager or HR. People are very frightened in this period and are going to be very concerned about how they deal with it, and they might be looking to you for an answer. Okay, so someone might say, I have a temperature, I don't feel well, I have a cough, I'm having trouble breathing. So these 4 are very specifically symptoms that we're aware of can relate to COVID-19. So I've given some suggestions or recommendations you could say in response here, such as I suggest you stay at home, you contact a doctor, you don't come into work, please contact the emergency number. In your role as HR manager, you might be the first person that they ask. Okay, so just remember important things. So I have a temperature, it means I have a fever in English. I don't feel well. We also have a very typical expression in English, which is I am feeling under the weather. You probably remember that one, Filippo, from London.
Absolutely. That's very common.
I'm feeling under the weather. Yeah, it's really common. And it means I don't feel good. But it's not specific. So you have to say, oh, okay, what is wrong? And they might say, oh, no, it's because I didn't sleep last night, so I'm exhausted. But here, someone might say, I'm really feeling under the weather. I have this cough. I have a temperature. And you want to be saying, okay, right, stay at home, speak to your doctor. Don't worry. Let me know, what transpires from this. And, it's really important that you give them this strong message that you're supporting them and reassuring them, but they need to obviously take steps. Okay. Now, I understand this is always a very short 30 minutes. So Next time we can have a look further at dealing with suppliers and clients. Okay, so we'll have a look at that in more detail next week. In the meantime, like I said, if you have any questions about any vocabulary, if there's a particular theme or subject you want us to discuss in these webinars, please do contact us at that email going across the screen. We're very happy to help. And as I said, you know, we provide courses to all sorts of companies, from one-man bands to international companies across Italy. So feel free to contact us if you're interested in an English course. And I'm going to leave you with Filippo, who will explain a bit more in Italian. His Italian is certainly better than mine. And it's always a pleasure to have you here. Thank you for taking the time to listen, and let us know if you need our help. Okay, thank you.
Natalie, before I do, I have a final question I wanted to ask you. At least
Absolutely.
in the UK, that you might know better, who is, it is the role of the HR manager or HR director to provide to staff or translate from what the government says or what the guidelines are from the government into the company policies. Who should
Yes.
people, if I am an employee and I just want to have some information, how should I ask for this kind of information? What is the, you know, the set of rules and guidelines and so on? What is their name? You know, if I want to find out more about what the policies are, how can I ask for that?
Do you mean in the UK or?
In English generally, I mean, what would be the question if I want to find out what is my company guidelines for, you know, health and safety in this situation?
I mean, it depends on the size of the company. But for example, larger companies will have a health and safety officer.
Okay.
I know for sure in the UK and America, there are very specific guidelines and strict rules around health and safety. And so the HR department either has a person dedicated to this, so a health and safety officer. They might even have a department just for health and safety, because if you're a big company, you will need that many people for writing your internal policies, or an HR professional will deal with this. Is that what is that what you mean?
Yeah, so is health and safety really the kind of title under which all of this comes under, basically?
Exactly.
Then we need to find out health and safety policies and so on to find out what are the rules compared to this.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. That was my.
You're welcome.
That was my question. Thank you. Now, I guess to finish off in Italian, ancora una volta vi voglio ringraziare per averci seguito. Spero che abbiate trovato gli argomenti che abbiamo trattato interessanti e che vi abbiano dato qualche spunto in più per poter gestire queste situazioni. Per qualunque domanda potete scriverci, se avete visto il nostro email passare diverse volte. Comunque lo ripeto, è corporate@myes.it. Potete scriverci sia se avete delle domande specifiche sul webinar di questa sera, oppure se avete delle domande più in generale su degli argomenti che vorreste che trattassimo nelle prossime settimane o comunque in qualche altro momento, in modo da sapere quali sono i vostri desideri e i vostri bisogni linguistici e lavorativi. Infine potete ovviamente scriverci se volete farci delle domande specifiche riguardanti delle situazioni che potete avere nelle vostre aziende e che pensate che debbano essere gestite poi separatamente, non attraverso questi webinar ovviamente, ma con degli interventi più specifici e ovviamente specialistici e particolari per la vostra situazione. A questo punto vi lascio, immagino che tutti avrete qualcos'altro da fare e quindi non mi resta che ringraziarvi ancora e spero di vedervi martedì prossimo, sempre alle 7, sempre con noi. Natalie, do you want to say goodbye?
Yes, thank you everyone. Have a lovely evening.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye bye.